Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Friday edition of The Shed. Hashtag Irish Bills Mafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. I'm doing it this evening as something came up yesterday evening, so I couldn't do the show itself. But here tonight now, we're bracing ourselves for Storm Dara. We're soon going into the red weather warning, so please God, there'll be no damage done and no one hurt. But there's a very rough night and very high winds promised, and all we can do is hope for the best that no one gets hurt and everything is okay. Tonight, I'm going to preview, week 14 in the NFL. We're 4 weeks away now from the finish line. This is the last week of the byes, so 6 teams have byes this week, and then from next week onwards, it will be every team plays every Sunday until they're knocked out. Last night's game was a cracker. I have only seen highlights and clips from it so far, but I'll watch it more thoroughly over the weekend. It was the Green Bay Packers at the Lions. So I could tell a lie and said I'd back the Lions and be one up on my competition for the week if I wanted. But to be honest, going into the game, I had a feeling for the Packers. Now, the Packers did lose 31-34, and it was by no means a cakewalk for the Lions. I have to admire the Lions, though, with all the injuries and their defense, how they managed and are still managing to be. They're now 12-1 for the season. It's remarkable how Dan Campbell has his team so fired up. I've seen a clip from the dressing room after the game last night, listening to Dan Campbell and no more than Sean McDermott and a few other head coaches, Andy Reid and them in the NFL. You'd go to war for him. You'd do anything for him. He's a guy that will look after you and will protect you and will help you and guide you and improve you and will stand up for you when needs be. So congratulations to the Packers. Or congratulations to the Lions, 12-1. The Packers now are basically just playing for a wild card, because even if they win all their games, I don't think they'll win the division, and they've already lost twice to the Lions. So Jordan Love and co have basically to play for a wild card. They should get it, but they still have to play for it and have a few games left yet. So now we're going into Sunday's games. So the first game up is the AFC East Battle Royale of the 2 best teams in the AFC East for this year, according to every pundit who wasn't a Bills fan. It's the New York Jets, high-flying 3-9, against the Miami Dolphins, high-flying 5-7. Yes, they are the 2 teams going off everyone else that's not a Bills fan for 2024. These are the 2 teams to beat. Excuse my little tone. But to be honest, these are 2 teams that have really let themselves down this year. Now, what I will say about the Dolphins, and it's no excuse, but they were without Tua for 4 weeks. And to be honest, with Tua, they are a team that might make the playoffs. Without Tua, they're just like the Jets. They're horrible. As for the Jets, well, they are horrible, and they've got Aaron Rodgers, their savior. Devontae Adams brought in to be with their savior. Everything their savior wanted. Their offensive coach, all the players he wanted offensively, they got him everything. And they're crap. And this weekend, I expect them to be crap again. I expect the Dolphins to win, and I think the Dolphins will win fairly handily. There's rumors that Aaron Rodgers wants to stay in New York and play for 2 more years, but he will play anywhere if they don't want him. No one will touch him. I even see the pundits in America now are starting to turn on him. He's just too much of a Mayfainer and will not accept responsibility for his mistakes, and all the good he's done in the previous years when he was an excellent quarterback is gone, because he just wants it about him. And anyone with a nose in their face can understand why Green Bay moved him on and moved to Jordan Love, because it was time. And the best thing Aaron Rodgers can do at the end of the season is retire and enjoy his life. The Dolphins, they should win this game. They have to win this game. If they have any chance of making playoffs, they can't go and let a bad Jets team beat them. So they're going to have to push on and get the win. So I'm going to tip the Dolphins in this. Then you have the 6-6 Falcons against the 10-2 Vikings. Again, it's a huge game for both teams. The Falcons are the top of the division in the NFC South, and the Vikings are on the coattails of the Detroit Lions. But if they lose this game, they can forget about it. Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions last week. There's question marks. Will it be him or Michael Penix that'll start? I think it'll be him. Sam Darnold is playing brilliant. The offense isn't firing on all cylinders, but they're getting over the line. And when they have to play, they do play. And I'm going to pick the Vikings again this weekend. I don't know, the Falcons, they're a team that can beat a team when they least expect it. But the Vikings have to, no more than the Dolphins, if they want to win that NFC North, have to keep the pressure on Detroit. So I'm going to go with them. Then we have a game that, I'll be honest, I have tipped both teams to win and tipped no team to win at the same time. We have the New Orleans Saints 4-8 against the New York Giants. They're at the New York Giants 2-10. Part of me thinks the Giants will win because they're at home and the Saints are just awful because they lost at home to the Rams last week when they shouldn't have. But I'm going to be realistic and I'm just going to go with the team that has more wins under their belt. So that's the New Orleans Saints. Even though it's only 4-2, I'm still going to pick them. Derek Carr is a quarterback that's proven in the NFL where we don't know if it's going to be Tommy DeVito or if it's going to be Drew Lock that's going to be quarterback for the Giants. I would pick Drew Lock, but maybe the Giants want to be number 1 pick in the draft, so they might decide to put in Tommy and just hope for the best. There's not a lot to say this game. There's not a lot to play for, so I'm just going to pick the Saints. Then we have the 3-9 Panthers, who are improving, and Bryce Young is improving, and Thielen is improving, and their offense is improving, and they look like a team that will put it up to teams against the 10-2 Eagles. So that's as far as they go because the 10-2 Eagles will be the 11-2 Eagles at the end of this week. Saquon Barkley is one of them players that's up there for MVP, and he's not a quarterback. Jalen Hurts is flying. Brown is flying. I think they might have Smith back this week. Their defense is getting better as every week goes by, and up until Thursday night, and I will say this hand on heart, I thought they'd be the number 1 seed for the NFC. And they haven't played yet, and fair enough, they haven't played yet, but I think that was a big statement win by the Lions, and my head has changed again that I do think the Lions will be number 1. They'll keep it. I've seen Dan Campbell in that dressing room, how driven he is. And I know the Eagles will be driven too, but I just think that the Eagles will be probably number 2 seed unless the Lions collapse altogether, and I don't see that happening. But the Eagles are going to win this weekend. Now, we come to the AFC North battle. So we have the 3-9 Browns against the 9-3 Steelers. This game happened a few weeks ago. I picked the Steelers. They lost after beating the Ravens. The Steelers had a great win against the Bengals last weekend. Proved me wrong when I tipped the Bengals because of Joe Burrow. And I am going to pick the Steelers this weekend. But Jameson Winston is on fire. Now, he's on fire giving pick sixes, but he's also on fire throwing the ball. He threw it for 497 yards last week. That would win a game many times over for another quarterback, but not for him against the Broncos. And they're going into, Steeler land. They're going into a stadium that will want George Pickens has something to prove. He called them a bad team. That will also be fire to the Browns. I don't see the Browns doing a double over the Steelers. The Steelers have that AFC North in their hand, and Mike Tomlin will not let them slip. I don't see it happening. I am going, for all my Steelers fans that watch this, I'm going for the Steelers this week. So if it goes wrong, well, don't blame me. Then we have the 2-10 Raiders at the 6-6 Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Co are my team. I'm going to pick them. The Raiders, they did put up a fight to the Chiefs last week, but they're going just for the number 1 seed, I think, in the draft, number 1 pick. And I don't know, will Antonio Pierce be their head coach next year? I think that could change. Then we have the 2-10 Jaguars at the 3-9 Titans. Now, Trevor Lawrence is out, probably out for the season. Mac Jones will be in. Now, Mac Jones did play all right last week when he came in, but can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm picking Will Levis and the Titans. I just think they have shown over the last few weeks, and they are at home, that they will put it up to a lot of teams. They beat the Texans. It was a cracker of a game. Don't know how it happened, but they did. And I just think that they'll have enough just to beat the Jaguars this week. I think the Jaguars might be on holidays now, a lot of them. Now, then we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. This is a repeat of the game from a few weeks ago where the Seahawks won 16-6 in Seattle. I picked the Cardinals that day. I thought that their offense with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. and James Conner would be too strong for the Seahawks. And the Seahawks proved me wrong. Now they're away from home. Am I picking the Cardinals? No. I've picked the Seahawks this week. The Seahawks have, they have the division in their hand. Geno Smith, Metcalf, Smith and Jigna, these guys have the bit between their teeth. They beat brilliantly a Jets team that they were 21-6 or 21-7 down last week and came from behind and won it. Didn't let the Jets score after that. Their defense had a pick six last week. They're playing well. They're playing a lot better than they were a few weeks ago. And I'm going to pick the Seahawks this week to beat the Cardinals. So I am sorry, Mark Hogan, who is a huge Cardinals fan. But when I picked them 2 weeks ago, the other way around, 6 points is all Kyler Murray got me. Then we have the 10-2 Bills at the 6-6 Rams. Now, I'm picking the Bills in the story. We got Micah Hyde this week. Huge news. He's on the practice squad. I think it's brilliant that they're bringing Micah back, that he can be there, because I do believe something special is happening in Buffalo. Now, it's a long trip over to Los Angeles, to SoFi Stadium, but the last time we were there, they were the reigning Super Bowl champions, and we pooped their party then. And they had Aaron Donald and co there at that time. I expect us to do the same this weekend. McVay's team is hot and cold a lot of times. They beat the Saints last week when I didn't expect them, but then they should have beaten the Dolphins. They were on the roll against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins, who were, after losing 3 games straight, it started their revival. They fell to them, and fell to them very poorly. So I'm picking the Bills this week. Our offense is playing very well. Our defense is playing very well, and our special teams is playing very well. And I don't think Sean McDermott will let that let up, even though we've won the division. We are chasing the number 1 seed, and the number 1 seed will be very important come a few weeks' time. We want teams to come through Buffalo. Josh Allen is playing super. Deion Dawkins is playing super. James Cook is playing super. Dawson Knox, it was great to see Dawson Knox back being Dawson Knox last week. He's been getting there every single week. Amari Cooper is fitting in lovely. This is only on the offensive side. Keon Coleman, we don't know if he's going to be back or not. He was training today. Dalton Kincaid, we're not sure if he's going to be back, but these are 2 guys, when they come back, will make an awful difference. Defensive side, Matt Milano is back. Terrell Bernard. We have Damar Hamlin. We have Ed Oliver. We have guys there that are Ty Johnson, Taron Johnson, playing Taylor Rapp, playing super football. I could name and wouldn't give enough credit to them all, and I miss someone. My slight concern, but it's only slight because he's been very good, and he had a miss last week, but what conditions were awful, is Tyler Bass. But out of everything, if it hopefully will never have to come down to Tyler. But Tyler made it against the Dolphins, and since that game, I believe in Tyler. So Tyler, please keep it up. I'm going for the Bills win. We are chasing the Chiefs. We have to catch the Chiefs. It's not the end of the world if we don't, but it's 1 game at a time. That's all I'm taking it at. But that's our aim right now. We've won the division. That was our first aim. Quiet, we kept it, but we did. And as I said, the 2 teams that were supposed to finish on top of us are well below us. So we have to keep the pressure on. Wherever we come, whether it be 1st seed, 2nd seed, 3rd seed, or 4th seed from now on, that's will be determined down the line. But we have to keep the pressure that we're going for the number 1 seed. Then we have the Chicago Bears 4-8 at the 5-7 49ers. Now, at the start of the year, I would have had these two teams on higher wins. But in fairness to the 49ers, the amount of injuries they have, that this is the reason I'm picking the Bears this weekend. The Bears got rid of Matt Eberflus. They're not a brilliant team or anything. They're a mess, to be honest. But they have healthy players. And the 49ers lost Christian McCaffrey last weekend. Brandon Ayuk is out. Brock Purdy isn't 100%. George Kittle, we think he's there, but he's not playing the way George Kittle can. Deebo Samuel, so their defense is missing players. And I know it's in San Francisco, and I know they have to win it to stay in it, but maybe they're just better off out and rebuilding for next year. So I'm going to go for the Bears. The Bears have a new temporary head coach. They'll look to make a point. Caleb Williams is playing well. When they played against the Detroit Lions in that second half, they were actually very, very good. The first half, they were shocking, and that's what cost them the game. So I'm going to go for the Bears this weekend. Then we have the 8-4 Chargers at the 11-1 Chiefs. And I'm going to be straight up. I'm going for the Chargers. I think the Chargers are playing better football, even though they've 3 more losses. Again, it's like the Minnesota Vikings. It's like the Miami Dolphins. It's like the Buccaneers. They can't afford to lose. The Chiefs can. Now, it'll cost them the number 1 seed if we win, but they can't. The Chargers can't. They'll be back into just wild card positions. There is a slim chance if they were to beat the Chiefs, they would be 9-4. The Chiefs would be 11-2. The Broncos have to play the Chiefs. I think in a few weeks' time that'll be a game, if Broncos continue their form, where that will happen. That would put the Chiefs at 11-3. The Steelers have to play the Chiefs on Christmas Day. I don't see the Chiefs going to Pittsburgh and beating them the way they're playing now. I might pick them in a few weeks' time when we'll see how they're playing, but right now I don't. That will put them at 11-4. And if the Chargers win their games, they'll be 11-4, and then it'll make things very interesting. But that's ifs, buts, and maybes. For this weekend, I think Jim Harbaugh will have his team revved up. They know they have to win this one. They kind of let it slip last time. And this Chiefs team are the Super Bowl champions of 2 years in a row, are going for a three-peat. Only time will tell whether that will happen or not, but their team is not playing well. And at some stage, either one or two things will happen. They'll click or they'll get caught. And time will tell. But I just think the Chargers are going to do it this weekend. And then we have the 4-8 Bengals at the 5-7 Cowboys. That's on Monday Night Football. This was a toss of a coin too. Joe Burrow is playing exceptional stuff. His offense, Jamar Chase, playing brilliant. His defense, non-existent. Cowboys had a good win against the Commanders. They beat the Giants on Thanksgiving. They've won our home game. And I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win this weekend. As big a mess as they have a bit of a defense. It's starting to play a little bit better. Too late the season, but starting to play a little bit better. The Bengals have no defense, and you can have Joe Burrow all day, but if they snuff out Joe Burrow, slow him down or stop him. Cooper Rush is a very good quarterback. He's starting to get things ticking, and he's not Dak Prescott, but he will get them a win here or there, and I'm going to pick the Cowboys this weekend. And there's my picks, and I'm already 0-1, and as I said, there's no point lying about it. I had the Packers in my head all week, and I wasn't going to turn around and tell you I'm picking the Lions. And me going all week, it wouldn't sit right with me. So they're my picks for the week. The teams that are on buys are 8-5 Ravens, 8-5 Broncos, 8-5 Texans, 8-5 Commanders, 6-7 Colts, and 3-10 Patriots. And this is the last bye weekend of the season. And that's everything for the minute, folks. It's a shorter video than normal, but as I said, there's an odd storm coming, so I ain't going to wait out here too long. And there's no major news. We have Micah Hyde back in. I think it's brilliant. We're the AFC East champions for a 5th year in a row, which is nice. What I would like to talk about is, for 1 second, is Josh Allen. Last weekend, Josh Allen did something that I don't think has ever been done by a quarterback. Was he threw for a touchdown? He threw for a touchdown, received a touchdown from a pass he threw, and scored a touchdown, and then he rushed for a touchdown. And at the end, he gives this ball to a young fan that was there. And in fairness to the young fan and his dad, they traveled a long distance to the game. They went on and they asked Josh Allen, would he like the ball back, because it was such a special occasion for him, and it's something that might never happen again because it has never happened before. And watching Josh Allen in the press conference reply to it was amazing. He didn't care. He wanted the young lad, to have the ball. He was happier that he had the ball than Josh Allen. He said, if I had it, it would just be put away. And that tells you just how connected Josh is with the fans, how connected he is to Buffalo, how unselfish he is for his own milestones, his own history making, his own awards, that he's just focused on the team, the players. He is focused on himself playing, the management, the whole crew there, the fans, the area, everything. And if you are not an NFL fan, or not supporting a team, I should say, an NFL fan, excuse me, go watch some of his videos, go watch some of the clips, go watch some of his games. And if you've no team to support, then I would suggest Buffalo Bills, because in my eyes, he's the reason I'm a Buffalo Bill, and I will be forever. And there'll be another quarterback when he retires and goes, but until that day, I hope it's meant a long, long way, way away. I am a Buffalo Bills fan because of Josh Allen. And I'll always say it, and I don't care who hears it. And just to see how down to earth he is, how normal he is, how he just wants to go and play, do his best for his team, win, and isn't caught up in, I did this, I did that, I did whatever. Just shows you the size of the man. And if you want to support a team, that's the team you need to support. There's other great footballers in the NFL, but I'm plugging for mine. So that's my video for tonight, folks. Look, I hope you have a super weekend. I hope for the Irish people here, or that there's no damage done with the storm. There's some awful severe winds promised for the next 24 hours between red and orange warning. In America, I know in Buffalo at the minute they're having bad snow. I hope everyone is safe over there and that it clears up and goes away pretty quick. And to everyone, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, stay together. And as always, my friends, go Bills.